We making moves. We making major moves. We making moves. We making major moves. We going all in. Like we got nothing to lose. We making moves. We making major moves.
What is up, everybody? I'm Mr. Man. Welcome back to my channel. First off, I want to thank Fruition Productions for allowing myself, Cypress, and Aquaman to come out to Houston to take part in the XRP Unleashed, now known as Crypto Unhinged premiere. It was fire. The energy was nice. The people were fantastic. The networking was live, man. No word of a lie. It was lit. I definitely had a good time. Back at the house at the Airbnb where I was at, hanging out with Cypress and Aquaman. These two individuals are something else, and let me tell you, I enjoyed it. There was so much taking place in the background that, you know, most don't get to see at all. You know, we were live streaming out there, we were hanging out, getting to know each other. I mean, we know each other already online, but getting to know each other in reality is a whole different game there, and it was nice. I'll chop it up with these two any day of the week. Any day of the week. On to what we're talking about here. So I'm going to talk to you about stablecoins. I want to talk to you about CBDCs, synthetic CBDCs, and what these actually are, and the role that these will take in our current ecosystem. Not our current, but our ecosystem itself, and where Stellar, XLM, XRP, XDC play in the role of these coming into fruition. All right, check this out. So back in March 2023, Ledger Insights had posted Circle calls for stablecoins. Where's my mouse? Calls for stablecoin reserves to be held at a central bank. Okay, so that structure immediately, just reading the headlines. If I'm gonna be a headline reader now and I don't read the body, just that headline itself eludes me to a particular architect of a CBDC, a synthetic CBDC. So let's go through this. So transparency and stability. This is what's needed from a stablecoin. This is what's needed from a CBDC. This is what's needed by money. It's my apologies, currency. This is what's needed by currency. Apparently, I heard a conference where it was stated that stablecoins are not currencies, and their logic or reason behind that stablecoins are not currencies. Only the central banks can issue currencies, legal tender, whatever you want to call it. So private money is not currency. Okay. So let's continue this. USDC is always redeemable 1-to-1 for US dollars, and EURC is always redeemable 1-to-1 as well. Transparency. This is what's up. The Circle Reserve Fund is an SEC registered government money market fund which holds a portfolio of short-dated US Treasuries, oversight US Treasury repurchase agreements, and cash. USDC is backed by the equivalent value of US dollar denominated assets held as reserves for the benefit of USDC holders. Cash is held at the regulated financial institutions, the portfolio of Circle Reserves funds. Here we go. Which can contain short-dated U.S. Treasuries, overnight U.S. Treasury repurchase agreements, and cash is custodied at the Bank of New York Mellon and is managed by BlackRock. So check this out. This is Circle. This is Jeremy Allaire talking about this very thing.
The second is that there are regulations that stipulate the kinds of reserves we can hold. Because we choose to be regulated, we hold these reserves in the safest possible instruments. This is as close as you get to government-backed or government debt money. The Circle Reserve Fund, which is a fund that is issued and managed by BlackRock, the world's asset manager, holds almost 90% of the reserves. These are held either directly in short-term US government bonds or in overnight repurchase agreements over-collateralized by US government bonds. So the 85+% is this sort of US government-backed risk. The remaining, in this case, I don't know if this is perfectly up to date, $5 billion in cash is almost entirely held with multiple global systemically important banks. And these are the banks that effectively have been designated to have the full support of the governments that back them. So this is an incredibly safe infrastructure and the most transparent in the world. And I'm not just talking about in the stablecoin market. We believe that we are more transparent than any financial institution ever. We provide daily visibility into substantially all of these reserves through USDXX. Search it on Google. You can see the daily, every single security instrument that backs USDC.
Awesome. So that's how transparency works. And then the fact that, actually, I'll keep going. I will keep going. So USDC is the standard for stablecoins. Regulators look at coins such as this. Companies are building on USDC. No regulated company is building on USDT yet. Circle holds its reserves in global systemic important banks, which we've gone through, and BlackRock. Okay. Tether has yet to complete an audit. Do you honestly think BlackRock will let some illegitimate company such as Tether remain at the top spot, in a top spot once legality kicks in? All right. This is a conversation here with Dassault, I believe their name is, and they're talking about digital. Well, they're talking about stablecoins, the New Zealand stablecoin, the NZDS for stablecoin at the end, and listen to what they have to say. Okay, I'm not trying to make a case of USDC versus Tether. That's neither here nor there. I have my thought on that. I flat out told you guys my thought and thinking of this and why I'm thinking this, because I base it off of documents, what T20 says, what IMF says, what the BIS says, what other industry players say, and same for this. But this is about Circle right now, and this is about USDC and what USDC is. Okay, I'm gonna prove my point here. Let's do this.
Our initial mint is through the Ethereum blockchain, or an ERC20 token standard. We have decided right at the beginning, after doing our due diligence, that we would go with the Circle code base. So Circle is what USDC and its billions of dollars deploy. It's becoming a bit of an international standard, and regulators in legislators in many different areas are looking at USDC as the gold standard of how to issue stable coins. So we want it to be compliant.
Let's go.
We believe would be the future standard for stable coins.
All right. So that was New Zealand talking about stable coins, and they were talking about USDC as the standard, right? And this is the same video that we had just watched with Jeremy Allaire. So we have an idea of who Circle has reserves with. Okay, now let me inject this into your head what a synthetic CBDC is. A synthetic CBDC is stablecoins that hold reserves at a central bank. That's what makes it a CBDC, synthetic CBDC. It's not the central bank reserves, but it's the stablecoin issuer's reserves held at the bank. And because it's now custodied in trust with the central bank, this issuance, this currency can now be considered currency. It is now blessed by the central bank. Okay, so that makes it a synthetic central bank. This individual here is, what's his name? Let me look it up. Hold on a second. His name is Tommaso Mancini Grafalo. That's it, from the IMF. Listen to what my man has to say, okay? Again, none of these are my opinions here. I'm just presenting the facts. Circle with USDC has reserves within central banks. What does that make this? A synthetic CBDC, which means it's a legal currency, which means the central bank has, I'll bless this, I'll bless you, kiss the ring, I allow you to run in my jurisdiction, and you can be considered money, and people will buy it and use it and enjoy it. Anything that operates outside of this legal construct which we have created will soon be and meet a terrible demise. Right? That's my Don Juan or my Don You know, I'm the guy with the big hat on, the big rings on, and, you know, I'm the Italian mafia big boss dude. Okay, that's what's going on here. Listen to Tommaso.
Is that all right?
Yes.
So central banks are also concerned with the costs and risks of implementing central bank digital currency. Clearly, this is a new endeavor, needs new capacities, and of course is exposed to risk. So an increasing number of central banks are considering a public-private partnership to offer these digital currencies. And that's very interesting to me. So the idea is that the private sector has a comparative advantage in innovating and interfacing with the customer. So they would be responsible with those functions, including the issuance of coins and the settlement of transactions. And the central bank would be, what is its comparative advantage? Well, its comparative advantage is regulating and ensuring trust in the system. So they would do that. They would issue a license to private sector players to issue tokens. Those tokens would be fully backed with central bank reserves. The firms issuing tokens would be supervised by the central bank. And in a way, that would be a way to offer a very safe, very liquid payment instrument, digital payment instrument to the public, that is fully backed with central bank reserves, but at the same time, not exposing the central bank to the same costs and risks of doing this entirely from A to Z. So this is a public-private partnership, sometimes referred to as synthetic CBDC, which is a term we introduced, or hybrid CBDC. And there are different ways to do this. The central bank might issue and settle and have the private sector distribute, or it might have the private sector also issue and settle. So as you can see, a very wide range.
Mic drop right there. Any argument regarding USDT and USDC and what's legal and what's not legal? This is why Tether had backed away from EU with MiCA coming into play December 30th, because they know. But again, that's neither here nor there. It's your money, your investment. You do what you want. I'm going to go stay where it's safe. I'm not a fan of BlackRock, right? But it is what it is. BlackRock is money, and they're not going to allow some company from 2014 to come up and step to them and be like, "Yo, BlackRock, bun you, screw you guys. We're going to take over this joint with a stable coin." A company earns more than BlackRock with a stable coin. Like, come on. Like, that doesn't make no sense to me. So, where was it? Here it is. So this is Project Hamilton. Okay? All about Project Hamilton, central bank digital currency research from 2022. All right, this is a risk forum, the Federal Bank of Atlanta. What am I going to do here? I'm going to just go right down to here. So here, retail CBDCs, what's happening around the globe. Ukraine, limited pilot testing of synthetic CBDCs. What was that arrangement they had there? Was it the National Bank of Let's just go through it. Let's just go through this. All right, I'll take you guys right through it. All right, we're just going to go through this together. I'm at the National Bank of Ukraine here. I'll type in Stellar. You can do this yourself too. I'm going to just show you how easy this is. It's going to drop down. There we go. There we go. Just like that. NBU welcomes Ministry of Digital Transformation's pilot project to issue programmable electronic money. When is this? December 15th, 2021. The NBU has commended efforts by the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine in conjunction with Tascom Bank, the fintech company BIT, and the Stellar Development Foundation. And USDC was the stablecoin used to run a pilot that will perform a test issue of blockchain-based electronic currency. Okay? Like, so, what does that mean? That means USDC was acting as the synthetic CBDC issued by the private company, which we had gone through. So USDC has reserves in GSIBs with BlackRock and central banks. Okay? And they're committed to continuing research through 2025 and have partnered with Stellar and Bit Inc. So USDC is still going to be in partnership with this collaboration until 2025 with Ukraine here, acting as a synthetic CBDC, as we heard Tommaso state. Okay? So now that we know that, let's just take a deeper look at this now. Okay, we're going to shift from CBDCs, if you will, to trade finance. All right, so the UN CITRAL Model Law on Electronic Transfer Records, this is the MLETR that you've heard about. And what it is the Model Law on Electronic Transferable Records. This has to do with XDC as well as XRP for transferring records. Remember, we're not talking about the security of the Orange Grove transferring. We're talking about Bill HR 4451 that states the investment contract with the digital asset. The digital asset has always been the investment contract asset. So when that security moves, it's the asset underneath allowing it to move. Electronic transferable records, right? That's how XDC works. That's how XRP works. Okay, so here we go. The MLETR aims to enable the legal use of electronic transferable records both domestically and cross borders. The MLETR applies to electronic transferable records that are functionally equivalent to transferable documents and instruments. I'm right here. Transferable documents or instruments are paper-based documents or instruments that entitle the holder to claim the performance of the obligation indicated therein, and that allows the transfer of the claim to that performance by performing or transferring possession of the document or instrument. So if we go to the Securities Clarities Act, HR 4451, this was put out by Tom Emmer. I'm going to just do this really quickly with you all here. Come on. That's not it. Oh, there we go. That's not it. It was the one beneath it, right here. It was the 117th Congress. This is that bill. And in this bill, what it states was that XRP has always been a investment contract asset, acting as a commodity to move the value of the security. Once that DVP happens, delivery versus payment happens, the value switches, there needs to be a mechanism underneath that. That's what XRP is acting as. That's what XDC is acting as. XLM is acting as the rails here for the plumbing for the retail ecosystem with currencies like USDC or synthetic CBDCs like USDC. So here we are on the world or the Trade Finance Global, okay? Trade Finance Global. An introduction to the XRP ledger. Why are they talking about this stuff if trade finance is just XDC? XDC will be the infrastructure for this, right? For trade finance, but you're going to have that liquidity that needs to move. If we have the electronic transfer of the records moving with XDC, we got the value of these things being utilized and transferred through XRP at this point here. I'm not making stuff up, okay? So, where is it? Past this. Ripple uses, there we go. So uses within trade finance. Trade finance has always involved long paper trails and expensive transaction fees. There is a strong business case for the digitalization of trade finance, as it's thought that digitizing processes will allow cross-border payments to be made faster, more securely, and more efficiently. This could be made possible by the use of blockchain and other distributed financial technologies. Manual processes could be reduced by allowing authenticated information and documents to be shared more easily and increase transparency. Ripple is ideally suited for use in trade finance as it is specifically built to support cross-border payments and international transactions. A Bitcoin for banks, if you will. So who is this company? Who is this? Who is the Trade Financing Global? Let's figure this out. So trade finance market size and trends. The global trade finance market size was estimated to, this is not the company. This isn't the company. Here we go. We're on the right page now. Transforming trade, treasury, and payments. What the heck? There we go. So, our mission at Trade Finance Global. We empower a global community from beginners to professionals in trade, treasury, and payments. Our mission is to deliver insightful content that sharpens knowledge, doesn't dull it, sharpens that, informs decisions, and breaks down barriers that exist within transaction banking. We embrace the innovation of tomorrow, today. Okay, they got around 2.2 financing facilitated, 2.2 billion financing facilitated. They have around 7.1 million monthly impressions, around 160K readers, and more than 50K community members. That's a lot of members, man. Like, look, look at, right? Like, look at the Trade Finance's global publishing partners. Carbon Chain, Alliance Trade, right there, right? Finastra, Partner Ripple, like this runs deep. Like, I need you guys to know this, okay? So as we exit this section here, I want you to hear this. This was a conversation I had snagged or sniped with Donnell Dixon and the IMF. This guy's from the IMF, about cross-border settlements with their reserve currency acting as an intermediary between the two currencies being swapped. Okay, what does it remind me of? Sort of ish. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to go down this. Ripple has spoken about. We have also taken into consideration the recommendations of the Financial Stability Board final and high-level recommendations on regulating, supervising, and oversight of global stablecoin. Right, that's Ripple. And then this is a document here which goes into state. I'll go from the beginning. While the cross-border use of foreign CBDCs can be limited through appropriate design, it will be harder to limit the use of global stablecoins across borders. Much like multinational banks, again, we're transferring from one currency, one CBDC to the next. All right, that's all we're doing. Much like multinational banks, materially large GSCs, global stablecoins, will have to be regulated for safety and soundness by a collegium of supervisors and regulators from across the countries where they are used. Each country will govern GSC use within its own borders to the extent enabled by technology. But some shared norms may be needed on what data authorities in the country can demand of users in other countries. Moreover, because private sector options, such as GSCs, backed with reserve assets, such as CBDCs or fiat currencies. So a CBDC can back this type of stablecoin. What is this type of stablecoin, you ask? Let's do this. I'll do this live with you guys here, right? It's not going to be live for you, unfortunately, but it'll be live. Is this the PDF here? Project Orem. We'll just jump right down this. Full report. That's what I want. Give me the report. So here you guys go. We'll study this together here, all right? We'll jump right into the report. One of the first things you see in the gray box. Get down there. Here's the gray box. All right. So here. An intermediated CBDC, also referred to herein as a CBDC token, and B, a CBDC-backed stablecoin. Right? That's what we're talking about here, a CBDC-backed stablecoin. And again, none of these are my words. Like, I didn't spend time hanging out with the BIS. Like, yo, BIS, here's what's going on. This is how I think you should architect this new system. We don't want just CBDCs because they're backed by nothing other than your fiat money. We want stable coins in there, which is backed by something, by a private company, right? Real world assets, RWA, son, all day. So when we put our money out there, you can back that, okay? That's what you can do. You can back our money that's backed by real stuff. That's what we want, all right? That's how this is going to work. I'm a shot caller. Oh yeah. Yeah, tell your mom I said hi. All right. Okay, cool. Mwah. That's what this is about, okay? Money. Let's listen to this conversation. Money.
the good news, Dong, is that central banks are thinking about this, and there has been a recognition that in the digital realm, central banks need to quickly adopt a new framework. I know as I'm listening to the other speakers talking about currencies, it's a loose term. People just say, well, we can trade this currency or that currency or make up a new currency. And we have to be careful when we talk about currency, because currency is essentially a sovereign instrument. And in every country, it is underpinned by the law of the nation, or in some cases, the law of the union.
And issued by the central bank.
And these currencies represent a liability on the central bank. It is not a casual instrument where someone wakes up and says, now I have cooked up a new currency because my latest technology allows me to define it as a currency. It doesn't work that way. So the point that you're raising, Dong, is that we have sovereign instruments that are underpinned by the law of the nation that creates a currency that works within the nation's boundaries. Now, rising above that, we have some international reserve currencies. So you have reserve currencies that are also recognized as assets by multiple countries. There are several of those. And so for a transaction to take place from country A to country B, it's not just a matter of two currencies sort of coming together. It's a matter of exchanging from the originating currency into a reserve or a recognized international currency and then back out again. And this is
So does this technically mean that we could potentially see new reserve currencies as well as the old reserve currencies, right? From transferring one currency to the next, as Ripple XRP does, right through RippleNet? I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying. So if we're taking a real world look at that, doesn't it look something like this here, right? You got the reserve currency, USD. You got EUR, which is a reserve currency in the basket of currencies with the IMF, JPY, right? Could there be new reserve currencies through the BRICS nations at that point, right? This initiative led by China. Don't think about the old world. Consider the new world and what's actually going on here. So when it comes to digital currencies, right, the CFTC knows something. CFTC states that crypto can make you wealthy.
And S&P E-mini futures, where retail long open interest ranges from 5% to 11%. These studies suggest the amount of retail participation in the digital asset futures market is more than double that in any other futures markets. The barrier to entry in the digital asset space is lower than traditional financial markets, and crypto presents an opportunity to build wealth by those who have found themselves historically shut out. However, these same groups are less likely to have the financial resources to absorb losses. Declining digital asset prices could mean significantly more severe losses for lower income investors, with knock-on effects penetrating the greater economy.
As long as you play your cards right and follow the money and learn and see where regulations are going, then it'll help you out. So jumping back, we were talking about synthetic stablecoin or synthetic CBDCs, money, the reserve of this stablecoin being held at a central bank. Check this out. This is what James Wallace has to say, okay? Check this out.
And then now what we're seeing emerging is, stablecoins being issued by regulated entities. So I can't give you the names yet, but there's two projects we're working on, one in the UK and one in the US, working with banks that are regulated, who will be issuing stablecoins, and the reserves will likely to be held at a central bank in a central bank account. So very different.
Boom. That's a synthetic CBDC as we've been discussing here, okay? Is he talking about Ripple issuing this? Ripple's a private company. Is Ripple's issuance of the stable coin have some reserves in a central bank? Right? We can't talk about it yet. We can't talk about it yet. So will some reserves be held in the central bank? If so, that makes it a CBDC, a synthetic CBDC. Right? We're just following the lines, man. We are just following down. Here's where we're at. This is where we at. What if I told you, I already told you, right? And you didn't fucking listen. What if I told you, I already told you? This has to go, this message here is a good message to the friends and family who didn't listen, to the people out there who didn't listen. And XRP right now is pumping. Where it's going to go, I don't know. When it stops, I don't know. I'm just here along for this ride, and I feel blessed and honored to be on this ride, because let me tell you, we all know what's up, and this gentleman here knows what's up also. Let me let him tell it to you from his own words.
The idea was, can we move something of value on the internet? Like we move something of information on the internet, packets of data on the internet, can we move packets of data that represent money? Could we actually get to a place where you could have an internet of value moving money around the globe? Messaging app of Ripple's, and it's competing with SWIFT. To go between Tanzania and Nigeria, you need somebody to bear some counterparty risk that the ledgers both move and are adjusted at the same time. And usually it's a bank that is in both countries. You could use blockchain, but the current thinking is you need a bridge currency in between, and that bridge could be a stable value that's backed by the US dollar or the euro. It could be a currency even like Ripple has an alternative. It's just piloted in May. The idea was, can we move something of value on the internet?
He knows what's up. To all you guys who are, pissed off because this guy's still in office, because you're impatiently waiting to get rich is the term. I'm not. I'm looking to get wealthy. I'm not here to get rich. I'm not here for pennies and nickel and dime and whatever, millionaire. No. I'm here for the long haul. I'm here for some money, some serious wealth coming to myself and my family, so that way I can pass this wealth on to them, and they can pass that wealth on to the next generation, and so on and so forth. This thing can take another 5 years for all I give it, I don't. I'm making money on other assets as they pop off. Sui popped off. Sui has a partnership with, they are right here. Partnership with Circle, partnership with Copper.co, institutional custody. Like, there's a lot happening. Aerodrome is popping off. Aerodrome just came out actually today, I believe it was, with they now have XRP within their liquidity pools. It's a wrapped XRP, but y'all can make some money on your cryptocurrencies. And again, it doesn't just have to be XRP. I use the word loosely. Cryptocurrencies. You can make passive income on your cryptocurrencies. All right. Well, I do believe that's all I have for you for today. I do hope you found some value in this. You learned the difference between a stablecoin, CBDC, synthetic CBDC, wholesale CBDC, and there's still retail CBDC we didn't go over. We didn't go over wholesale and retail, but we had gone over what a synthetic CBDC is, and then the fact that it's being utilized within the Stellar ecosystem today. We heard from the IMF, who was talking about synthetic CBDCs and what it actually is. And then we heard a conference with Denell Dixon of Stellar and an individual from the IMF talking about this very same topic here. I do hope you found value on this one. I'll see you in the next one.
We making moves. We making major moves. We making moves.